guys, my name's Shara and welcome to my channel where I document my running journey here on YouTube. If you saw my last video, which was last Sunday, you'll know that I did a 10k race, the Run for All Gear 10k, and myself my first medal in 18 months. Yes, I haven't raced in that long. I just wanted to do a quick race recap. So do go and watch my race video. I'll put a link to that down in the description, and then this might make a bit more sense. So I wanted to talk about my laps. I've got them up here on the screen in front of me on Garmin Connect. So my race plan really was, well, originally I was going to use Pace Pro on my Garmin, but when I downloaded the only GPX file of the route that I could find, it actually made the route a bit too long. So it was 6.35 miles instead of 6.2, obviously. So I thought that would mean that I'd probably got to run a bit too fast if I was following that. And I wasn't sure I could do that. I think it was predicting something like 9:16, 9:17 minutes per mile. So my fastest 10k recently, which admittedly was only during a training run, was 59 minutes 24. So I was aiming for 59 minutes or a bit below if possible. And I obviously thought that Pace Pro would mean that that pace wouldn't match up because of the route length, etc. So I talked to my partner Brian, who's a running coach, and we decided the best thing for me to do really was to just go by feel and just pace it steady to start with. I decided that if I had any energy left towards the end, I would just put a spurt on and go a bit faster. So I went into that race thinking in my head that I would be doing about 9:30 minute mile pace or a bit under if I could. But obviously that would depend on the day. And that was quite a warm day. Not making excuses, but when you've not had any warm weather and suddenly on race day it's warm, obviously you haven't been able to acclimatise to it. So there was that issue a little bit, but I know it affected some people. I did see some people walking or slowing right down after about 4 miles when it started to get warm, but I actually managed to carry on. So let's go and talk about my mile splits now. I did put these up on the screen in my last video. So, as I said, I was planning to do 9:30 minute miles or under pace. So my first mile was 9:26 minute mile pace. So bang on what I wanted to do. Now, bear in mind with all races, really, it's quite busy in the beginning and you have to wait until all the people kind of filter out and find their own space. And it was very much like that at this race. Now, the first sort of 2 or 3 miles, I kept telling myself, slow down, slow down, slow down, because my legs wanted to go. And I had to keep telling myself in my head, this is not a 5k. You don't have the endurance for a 10k. You can't go out that fast anymore. Just take it steady. So anyway, miles 2, 3, 4 and 5 were all fairly good, actually. They were all pretty consistent. So mile 2 was 9:12 minute mile pace. Mile 3 was 9:19 minute mile pace. Mile 4 was 9:16 minute mile pace. And mile 5 was 9:15 minute mile pace. So couldn't have gone any better than that, and obviously quicker than I'd planned. I still felt quite good, and I decided in my head that if I still felt good at 5 miles, that I would speed it up a bit for the last mile and a bit. So that's what I did. And mile 6 was 8:53 minute mile pace. And then for the final finish line straight, I did a 19 minute mile pace. So I had a little bit of a sprint in me at the end, although it didn't feel like it. If you watch the race video, you'll see my partner there yelling at me at the finish line, come on, Shara, come on, right to the end, come on, pick it up. But I really didn't have any more left in me. By the time I finished, I was kind of gasping for breath. But we did it, and to be honest, I couldn't have paced it any better than I did. So average split time is 9:12 minute miles with a time of 56:53 minutes. So really obviously happy with that. That's way better than I could have expected. Now I'm just going to look at some of my other stats here on Garmin. So it actually says the primary benefit was VO2 max session, which is a bit worrying because that means I was actually working predominantly in zone 5 and some in zone 4. So it was kind of more or less 50-50 between the two. Now, I've struggled, as I've said in previous videos, to get into zone 5 with my Garmin Fenix 7. So I actually bought a Coros heart rate monitor, one of those that you wear on your arm. So it is now actually getting into zone 5, so I'm guessing it's a bit more accurate, but I didn't feel like I was in zone 5. I felt probably more like the zone 4. I felt like it was maybe a kind of tempo run, you know, sort of, how would you describe it? Comfortably hard, I suppose, but without, you know, going full pelt. So time in zones, it actually says here I did 40% of it in zone 5, 31% in zone 4, and just 7% in zone 3. So yeah, I was obviously going a fair whack for me. So what next? I guess I have got some other 10Ks booked. My next one is on 8th of September, which is Run Norwich 10K. Now, that has got a few hills in it, so it's not flat like the Gear 10K was. So I've got to sort of make allowances for that. I've done it 5 times, by the way. I've never actually done a really good race there. I don't feel, anyway, with my personal best on that course being, I think it's about 56 minutes. So obviously that kind of matches not far off what I just did at Gear, having not trained for it really at all and not having run for a long time. So I think if I can do 56 minutes or under at Norwich 10K, then that will be pretty good, but I will have to do some hill training. Now, obviously living out in the Fens where I do, it's pancake flat. So it's really difficult actually where I live to find a hill. I have some sort of long incline, but I don't really have anything that's very steep. So I may have to go somewhere else to actually find a hill to do some training on. But I think that's going to be necessary for this race. And I've also got a race in November, a 10K in Benidorm. And I wonder whether perhaps that could also end up being a bit hilly. It depends whether it's just along the promenade or whether we go up into the town. I've not actually looked, so I need to check that route out. Now, I want to book, ideally, another 10K race in between now and Norwich 10K, just to see what I could do and to see if there's any progress. But I haven't found one, actually. There's a 5-mile race at the end of June, which I might consider. It'd just be good to see how much I've improved in a couple of months. But I've got 4 months as of today to do Norwich. So hopefully if things go well and my training goes as planned, then, you know, we should see some improvements there. Yeah, so obviously that's where I am now. Goals could change as training goes on and, you know, maybe there are better improvements than I expect. But those are my goals as it stands now. I do appreciate you watching this video. Thanks very much. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a like. But for now, I'll say goodbye and take care, guys. I'll see you later.